most important one, or well, okay, it is always the most important one if it happens. So there you go.
If you want pause for the next century.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it comes down to it, I can always just like be a 60-year-old man talking about like his recent holiday. That's basically what it was. I mean, ESL booked me a very efficient route, and I didn't have like a day and a half doing nothing.
What do you actually do when you're flying for 26 hours? Because I personally hate flying. I'm actually scared of flying. That's another reason I don't like it very much. But that must be so dull, man.
I was in a plane crash when I was young. I'm still not scared.
What, like a proper fully fledged plane crash?
Kind of, yeah. The plane was out of commission afterwards. It's like it wasn't like huge plane crash. It was like it overshot the end of the runway and went through several fields.
Oh wow! I feel like I don't have any right to be scared of flying now.
There you go. In fairness, the only reason I'm not scared is I was so young. I didn't really understand what was going on. Which
you probably just thought it was a roller coaster or something.
No, well, I thought it was a tremendous game because I was actually so this was only me and my my older brother, but he was only like 2 years older than me, so we didn't have our parents there or anything. And he was old enough to understand what was going on, and everyone else on the plane was obviously like an adult and was old enough to understand what was going on. But I was so young, and at that time I liked to pretend to shoot people. So like at the end, like they took everyone off the plane. They're like, "Oh, sit them in the debriefing room. We'll give you counselling and whatever that bollocks." So they did that, and then I was just there like pretending to shoot all these ashen-faced people who just had the scare of their lives.
Good guy Spuddington.
I didn't know. That's fine. I was an innocent child.
People are traumatized. You're like, bang, bang, bang.
Yay! You're dead.
Wow. It's got quite morbid all of a sudden here on in the Turkish Champions League. But
I thought it was hilarious when I heard about it years later. Because obviously I didn't really remember what I was doing at the time. I also got to ride in a fire engine at the time, so that was a pretty good day actually for me.
See, that would have been a cool situation to have been in, but as we're talking, blue buffs have been picked up. I say that actually, Marshall's just a little bit lagging behind Jarvan, but again, the dual lanes are both going to go to bot lane as we're seeing so often because of the previous changes to the top tower, which is a lot beefier now than the bottom ones.
Yeah, it makes it a lot less viable to go for 2v1 swap-ups, and in a situation like this where, in theory, Team TURQUALITY and AWH can both have the lane go the way they actually want it to, there's no real reason to swap it up. So, as a result, the level 2 has been hit, and it looks like the bot lane are going aggressive, but actually maybe they're not. I'm confused about that.
Well, they wanted to, but Zergsting's missed the first death sentence I've seen, so pretty crucial time as well. Scats went in, got flayed backwards straight away, and has now taken quite a bit of damage for his trouble, so going to kind of even things out there. But Zergsting on Thresh definitely one to watch out for, especially against Leona. It has a potential for a lot of early action.
Yeah, and it was a really nice timing flay there, so it does seem like it gave Team TURQUALITY now the ability to push out that bottom lane that little bit more. So they've got the minion slow push, they've got the advantage in XP, but we've got to keep an eye on the mid lane as well, because both the junglers are hanging around the area. Marshall's been seen though.
Yeah, and as I said before, Riosta is very susceptible to early ganks, so I think that's pretty much the play here for Halpern, who did this last time around, so he's going to look to rinse and repeat. But once Riosta hits level 6, Ari is renowned for high mobility with the Spirit Rush, so all of that potential for the ganks early on are going to pretty much dissipate once he hits level 6, so it's kind of a ticking time bomb here for Halpern to try and make the plays in mid.
Yeah, but the thing is, Ziggs is always going to be quite happy to just play the farm and the push game. The only thing that could really start to go wrong for him post 6 is if he gets ganked and Riosta can land the charm. If she can't land the charm, which it's not too difficult to position to make it very difficult for her to land, then he's going to be in trouble. I've kind of mangled the grammar there, but regardless, in short, if charm lands, Ziggs post 6 is likely to die, but it's going to be difficult for that to happen. And that means Riosta's main option to make life difficult for Ziggs is going to be to push and try and roam, but Ziggs obviously counter pushes super hard.
Yep, that is very true. So let's have a look. Bot lane, Marshall is coming in for a gank, but Flame Chomper's put down. Zenith Blade will be missing, and Marshall, well, didn't even get a summoner out of that one, so he's just going to back on away.
And you've got to wonder, is Scats feeling the pressure right now, because he knows he was being judged basically last game because he did not have a good game at all. And if you're an emotional player, if you're someone who tends to kind of, you know, not roll with the punches necessarily so well, that can really play on your conscience and actually make everything worse about it. And that Zenith Blade was just an unforced miss. He had flash, he could have set that up, but he just didn't do it.
Yeah, second guessing yourself is really a massive determining factor into why some players do go on tilt. And speaking of St. Vicious, you know, you mentioned him before, obviously you met him in Sao Paulo. I remember when he was still playing in Kirsten, he was talking about elements and Naijaki being feelers, and what he meant by that is very emotional players, that when they start to feel bad in game, it shows in their performance. And I do wonder if Scats is one of those players himself, because as you say, last game was definitely not the best he's had, because yesterday he was playing very well with Leona in particular, so it was quite strange to see him out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, it's one of those strange psychological things that I feel like it's something that doesn't tend to happen to the truly great players, but they're going in anyway.
There we go, this time he has flashed in, so he's going to be a tiny bit more confident as the death sentence will be fired across from Zergsting. Should be the recipient of first blood. The owner actually takes that one down, and now they're looking for the second one. Flash through from Kaze will be dodging the Zenith Blade. Longby is teleported down to bot lane. Going to try and turn this one back around again with the Sadist, and will be picking up this first kill. In fact, will he be taking it down? Yes, he will, finally, at the cost of his own life, as barrier was used. And now Scats is going back in, but he's gone back in worst possible time as Halpern has came down to bot lane, and now he's gone backwards and forwards, but the whole time he's being smashed upon by Kaze, who's taking down quite a lot of damage courtesy of the minions. There's a question of who can be the tankier, as a flag and drag will miss from Halpern. This has allowed both laners to finally get down. Ori's hit level 6, so Spirit Rush is coming in as well. Is he going to be chunking through these? There we go, going to be firing onto Elysion. Don't know if he's got the damage, but there's the Ignite, forcing away the flash. Here comes the death sentence now that Zergsting's finally got back to play. And that's going to be the fourth kill in this game. My goodness, that lasted so long that players who had died were able to get back to their lane.
And that completely blindsided Ahri as a result. She had so much potential there with the ultimate where Ziggs didn't have it to make plays happen and to be a much more important influence in the fight. But just really good play by Zergsting, getting there and locking her down under the tower, turning around that situation completely. And now I think that does put AWH are actually still ahead on gold, but Team TURQUALITY, they are going to be perfectly happy with how that fight went.
It seems like Leona's taken a leaf out of Zergsting's book this time and is going for the carry with the 2-0. Picked up both of those kills. So that's going to be a bit of a body blow to AWH, but I'm sure they'd rather have picked up the kills than nothing. Whereas on the flip side, you got a kill on Mundo, who is going to be able to scale extremely strong going into the later stage of this matchup, and also on Jarvan in the jungle.
Yeah, the problem is, though, if you've gotten so much gold committed on Leona, and she's not already been playing, brilliantly, and Leona doesn't really scale, at all. So there's some problems there, potentially, in the long run. But doesn't really matter for now. AWH will continue to lane fairly strongly. They have got more burst. They are obviously playing Lucian and Leona. But if things continue at the current going pace, I keep trying to call them Twisted Tree Line. Team TURQUALITY are looking very, very good.
Rapid was having that problem yesterday as well. It does take a little while to get your brain around it, but yeah, indeed, Team TURQUALITY and AWH, which stands for Always With Honor, if you guys in chat were curious. Because if you're not a Turkish fan, these may be fairly unknown teams to you. They are very good teams, but it's been a bit of a roller coaster, I have to say here, Spellington. You can understand why as well, because we're casting this online, obviously from England or Guernsey, as the case may be for yourself. These guys are in front of an audience in Turkey. They're actually playing on a stage right now.
Ooh, and that I didn't actually know. I did not actually know that. I only said I'll cast this at 2 a.m. yesterday. So that's actually really, really interesting, and that might well have a major factor on why Scats is not, necessarily playing the way he would have liked to. So that could well be a major contributing factor. Now, it does seem like the rest of them are, well, playing it fairly defensively in the bottom lane, but AWH, I feel, and I don't want to say this too harshly, but I feel like they might be choking just a little bit.
They did choke yesterday as well against their brother team pretty hard as well. They had I want to say 5 to 10,000 gold lead, and they threw it away by a bad Baron call and a Dragon call as well. And it just kind of escalated and snowballed from there. So I have no doubts at all that these guys, when their back's against the wall, they definitely do push that self-destruct button sometimes. Just hoping from their perspective that this game is not going to be one of those occurrences and they can bounce back from that heavy defeat in game number 2.
Yeah, so right now, I think probably the time to focus is mid lane, because there is a gank.
There he is, and against Riosta has just been caught out of position. Charm comes through. Ignite is used as well. As Riosta actually goes back in again. Bouncing Bomb comes out, and the Mega Inferno Bomb, but he manages to dodge both of them. And as we're talking, Scats has picked up his 3rd kill. It's on a killing spree.
Stop killing people! That's unfortunate again, but at least this time they should be able to convert that into a dragon if they want to go for it. But it actually looks like AWH are going to opt not to do so. I have no idea why. Ziggs most likely was going to go back. Riosta has stayed in, so they had the men in the area to go for it, but it does seem like they didn't feel confident enough to do so. As a result, they are going to fall, that little bit further behind. But is it really behind if oh my god, my brain. Sorry, right, so I'm really sorry.
The cake is a lie.
Yeah, everything, yeah. Da-di-da-di-da, reset your brain. Okay, yeah, so the point I was trying to make before every single part of my brain stopped working at once was essentially that gold's advantage for AWH is almost meaningless on Leona. She can convert that into more wards, and she can convert that into, say, a Talisman of Ascension, but it's going to be a very, very minor difference by comparison with what you would typically want to see.
Yeah, because if, for example, Scats was playing Annie right now, or a Morgana support or something like that, and you were picking up a hatful of kills, you could be like, okay, well, I can get Talisman of Ascension, then try and build a lot of ability power. So you're still doing the damage, but that's not really on the cards for Leona. Realistically, you can only just get more tanky, and that's not going to do the damage to take down players in fights. So I will say, though, that after watching... because I have the stream up right now, so I can watch some of these in like action replay like you're talking about before, that the last kill that Leona got was Ignite ticking down, so you can't really fault that kill on Scats. It was more a case of no one took the last hit.
That is actually pretty unfortunate there.
Yeah.
It does happen sometimes, and there's not a lot you can do about it. And now actually it looks like Zergsting, for the hook, wasn't able to get that. But the bottom lane from Team TURQUALITY is actually still looking pretty good. Lucian has a little bit more gold, but Jinx coming out of the lane on roughly equal terms with the enemy AD carry is a result they'll be very happy with. Also, got to keep an eye on this mid lane though. Ari is trying to bait Ziggs into roaming, because if he roams and she doubles back around, baits it, gets the charm on him, she can kill him now. She has the damage.
Oh, definitely the case, and has the components for a Deathfire Grasp as well, so that's going to become even more apparent when that item's finished off. There's a burst potential is pretty significant. Jarvan is coming down to bot lane. Here's the Lantern, the Flash, the Death Sentence, but not landing. So that Flash actually was used for naught, because Relentless Pursuit from Zeitnot and Scats just walked away.
And in the meantime, AWH are sieging the top tower down. Stormerged has managed to pick himself up. Actually, a pretty significant CS gap that I had not detected. Will be the Dragon going in return. I would say, though, Team TURQUALITY, well, they'll be okay with that, but arguably that shouldn't have been there in the first place for them to try.
Dragon has been picked up from Jarvan. Now the re-engage with the Mega Inferno Bomb coming out. Zeitnot should be falling right there from Jinx. Now going to be engaging on Scats, who's forced to flash through the Dragon pit. And that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade at the end, but the Dragon was picked up for Team TURQUALITY.
Trundle is still pushing top though. If they had stopped Mundo's recall, and they can see him, AWH would have actually given themselves a really big advantage because they would have taken down the inner tower up top. As it is, Stomach is likely to do a lot of damage, but I don't think he's going to be able to quite get that in time. Maybe he will actually. I'm not in take. He's just pillaring him. So he will actually get that, so it doesn't actually matter as much that they didn't stop the recall. But regardless, Stomach might die for his troubles as a result.
Well, he still has his ultimate available, so he may actually try and turn this one back around again. He's used the Bilge Water Cutlass as well. There's the Ignite to cut through the sadism and all the health regen that Long B is going to be putting out, but still, he does need to be careful. Has his flash available, so if it starts to get a bit too sticky, he will try and flash away, but Infected Cleaver's constant CC coming down. Stomach may not actually try and flash. In fact, he will. That's a beautiful cocoon from Marshall. The flash in from Long B, trying to get the last Infected Cleaver. So actually, I've got to say, that worked out pretty well for Stomach.
Yeah, he was able to bait a lot of time and some extra summoners, but it was a very close run thing, and that cocoon was just on the edge of what should or should not be hitting. And now it does look like we have the fight potentially in the bot lane. Or not.
Yeah, again, Lanson comes through. Death Sentence has landed. There's going to be some follow-up damage. Flame Chompers as well. Nice solo flare from Scats, though, will stun both Kaze and Zergsting, so they couldn't make the most of that Flame Chomper. Mega Inferno Bomb's coming down from mid lane, forces the flash, and the Inferno Bomb as well, plus the Mega Death Rocket is not enough to pick up the kill, but Scats has been caught from a Death Sentence. There we go. Fishbones will do the damage, and a shutdown gold comes in for Jinx.
Mega Death, Mega Death, Mega Death. Rocket
So
bombs,
confusing.
Bombs. Yeah. That's for the NSA listening, we are no. Okay, so okay, so Ziggs is pushing down the mid lane right now, and will be probably able to see that in pretty effectively. Jarvan is in the area, and Riosta has to be incredibly careful, but does have his ult.
Yes, and the flash, so he's burnt both of them to get away, but in doing so he's left his tower fairly vulnerable. That being said though, the flash in from Marshall and the cocoon, Stomach from the side is going to be using that subjugate, but a beautiful dark passage to take down Ziggs in the back lines. Now here comes the Cataclysm from Halpern, locking in Trundle, who's still very big, stealing away those resistances and armor. Riosta has rejoined the fight on very little hit points, but is able to pick up that kill while Thresh goes one better and takes down the opposition jungle. So again, it's just kind of going blow for blow here. 5-5 is the scoreline, 24k apiece. It's so close.
Yeah, much closer than either of the games so far, actually. The first game was not nearly as unbalanced as the second, but there was still a definite trend in it. This game, much more comparable, and although I favour Team TURQUALITY's team composition in the late game, it will never be a case where they will get so far ahead just based on the characters they've chosen that it's unwinnable for AWH. It's no more than a couple of, percent of probability difference. And right now, Team TURQUALITY, they're looking good, but not so amazing. It's actually worse than it looked so for AWH, just because of the Leona kills.
That is a very good point. A large chunk of that gold is going onto the support, which is going to not be as useful as the 2 kills on Jinx with a shutdown as well, you have to remember, plus the fact that some kills evened out on Mundo and also Jarvan. 4 assists for Ziggs, identical CS between himself and Ari. As I say, that is just going to make us very slight advantage in his favour, but it's quite impressive, I would have to say, that after that second game performance that AWH had, they're able to steady the ship and come back like this.
Yeah, they're doing well right now, but it does seem like Marshall has been spotted out there, so that's okay for them. But I feel like AWH needs to start taking advantage of Trundle. Thus far, he's been doing an awful lot of split pushing, and yes, he's been farming himself up. Yes, he likes to go for a damage item first, which makes roaming a little bit less valuable in general on him. There is a potential fight in the bottom lane, but I don't think they're going to be able to engage as Zergsting's gone.
Well, he's flashed to flay. The Inferno Death Rocket, I should say, it's completely whiffed, missed everybody, scored a goal with that one. And again, Thresh has picked up a kill, so both supports getting in the action. I really need to distinguish between those 2 ultimates. Okay, Ziggs' ultimate, Mega Inferno Bomb, and Jinx's ultimate, Super Mega Death Rocket. They just really don't roll off my tongue.
Yeah, it's one of those slightly unfortunate things where I just call them an alt. It's Zigzol. It's Jigsaw.
That
it's
is an
fine.
easy way to get rid of it, to be fair.
It's certainly a lot easier than learning, you know, Orange Tip Flotillery or whatever the next champion will have as their ultimate. It's just they're very silly names, you know, very silly names. But they are kind of humorous characters, so it does fit. It does fit. There is no denying this. Regardless, though, I'm a little bit surprised to see Riosta not going for Kaze in the mid there. It might have well been able to. It might well have not gone brilliantly well for them, and you know, would have had to back off. But I feel as Ari, you can afford to take like 50-50 chances of getting a kill, just because your ultimate's relatively short cooldown, and you can always run away with it pretty safely.
Yeah, I mean, without any blue buff, and not with huge amounts of cooldown reduction as well. It's 80 seconds, just over 80-second cooldown for the ultimate. So with blue buff, it's going to be considerably less. Another Zenith Blade has slightly gone amiss from Scats, and you know, it's trying to set up for this dragon. They need to be quick because all this time, Long B is pushing top lane, so he's going to try and pick up that tower, and they will actually just back away now from the Dragon Pit. Maybe go for mid.
Yeah, this is smart by AWH. They know Mundo has teleport, and they also know that they can't really take the dragon 4 on 5. So if they had stayed, tried to set up for the dragon, all that would have happened is that Mundo would have kept pushing top, they would have lost towers, and then they would have potentially lost the dragon as well if they tried to fight for it. So that was a kill in bottom lane.
I have a wild guess who picked it up.
Well now, it's apparently Turkey is the server of bloodthirsty support, so I don't really know entirely what's going on here, but does seem that Team TURQUALITY right now are looking pretty good, based pretty much off of that fact that Longview was doing his split push last time. Oh.
Now, Mundo has caught himself Riosta, but as we were talking about before, the aforementioned ultimate should be enough to dart away. That being said, though, it's moving towards a tower that's no longer there. Final charge will get through the wall, but there is the flash from Long B, hungry for this kill. Will be taking it down. I just know that Zergsting was itching to try and steal that kill right there, but now Trundle is coming back in with the subjugate. He is so after this kill, flashing in. Ignite's been popped down as well. Well, I was going to say somewhat juking attempts from Zergsting, but he's probably just trying to buy his team up enough time to back on away. Will be going down. Or not.
Oh, white MVP? No. He actually tried to jump over that wall in that exact fashion initially, but when Ari dashed over the wall, she aggroed the white, so it had actually moved around to try and get it, so he missed his first hook. But he was able to delay it and survive the damage of the white itself, so Zergsting continuing to make some really impressive plays here. And, well, Trundle got nothing for his troubles, basically.
And the whole time that was happening, I believe Dragon was picked up from Team TURQUALITY as well, so somewhat of a double whammy there. I still can't believe that Zergsting survived that. I was sure he was dead. I did not think there was any way of him surviving.
It was hard to believe, I'll say that much. And I'm fairly sure Trundle is feeling much the same, because he blew his flash, his ignite, and his Blade of the Ruined King with ultimate to try and get a kill, and then just didn't.
Well, Riosta has been somewhat caught out, but again, Spirit Rush, as we said before, such a low cooldown. He's already back available again, the bomb comes through, and the rocket as well. Beautiful combination to pick up the kill onto Scats. And that is going to be yet another tower into the side of Team TURQUALITY.
And that was just AWH getting caught flat-footed. They were not ready for this group up, and they're going in one by one.
And remember, the ultimate is back up, but the flash and ignite is not for Stomash, so he's going to go down. Now Zaynlot in the front lines as an AD carry is never the position you want to be in. And suddenly, in the blink of an eye, this game is getting out of control in Team TURQUALITY's favour. They're going to pick up this inhibitor, probably go back and just take the free Baron.
Line up, ladies, please. That was really quite an unusual thing to see. They just were not respecting the threat of Team TURQUALITY. They have the range CC, they have the range damage, and they have the ability to burst down even someone like Trundle if he's, you know, walking up close 1 versus 5. So, like you say, sudden gold swing. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility, obviously, still, because with you know, 6k gold at this stage of the game is a lot less significant than it was last time. But AWH cannot afford to have that happen again, and they are now going to have to contend with the map pressure from the mid lane, with Jinx actually making the decision not to push out the bot lane, allowing it actually to slow push, don't worry.
Well, I wasn't sure if they'd go for the Baron, but they're playing safe. They don't want to, you know, Lord throw zone. Everyone's heard that before. Interestingly enough, if you have a quick look at the chat spot, I don't know if you've got it up, but a surrender vote just failed for Always With Honor, which is AWH. 1 to 2 votes. So they're on TeamSpeak, or they're on Ventrilo together. They're all sat next to each other on a stage, and they're caught in 2 minds if they want to surrender. That is never a good sign for team morale.
Yeah, that shows... That's really telling, actually. That's showing the mindset of some of the players, and it's showing the unfortunate issue sometimes that can arise. Because if you believe you're not going to win a fight, as a rule, you're not going to. Like, that's how it tends to work. They're not at an insurmountable disadvantage. I've said that. They could potentially win a fight if they just get a good start, like catching Zergsting.
Well, he has flashed away, and we saw his great escape last time around, but the cavalry's coming in. Lightnot is doing a lot of damage with that. Colin does get the shutdown. Gold on Thresh again. Not something we're accustomed to seeing, but in the meanwhile, there's like 4 separate fights kicking off, as Elise will be going down alongside Jinx. These are pretty important pickups. 1 for 2 with the AD carry dead on Team TURQUALITY, but they're still going to back on away because Long B is pretty high on hit points. Going to pop off the sadism, running, chasing after the people by himself, but doesn't really have any help. Here comes Halpin from the side. Constant infective cleavers will be landing, plus the Zig Satchel charge, but I don't think they've got enough mobility to catch up. That being said, though, what I hadn't realised, what I hadn't factored into is this tower is dead, so there's no Sanctuary, and still managed, being a good guy, sacrifices himself.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at the fact that that fight didn't go so brilliantly. And I've got to say, I feel like a little bit of it rides on Zeitnot's shoulders there. He got low relatively early on, I think walking into like 3 walls of the box when they were trying to catch Zergsting. And that worked out for them. And the team as a whole did not disengage at that point. But Zeitnot kind of moved away. And you saw at the end there in that chase, the whole chase, he was just mid lane farming away. So was that just because they knew they needed to kill the super minions, or was it just that Zeitnot felt they should be disengaging and was going to go with that plan regardless of what the rest said?
Or could it be a reflection that right now no one's talking to each other? Because of what we said before with the surrender vote coming in, probably low morale, some players, their heads do drop and they stop talking. And it could be a case right now that no one's really making any shot calls, no one's really discussing what they want to do next. And you can see already that Lucian's just by himself, like, just totally split off.
Yeah, and if you're split off, that makes you easy pickings. If Mundo comes upon you, if Thresh comes upon you, then you are going to be finding out what it means to be caught, because they have so much potential to chase and set up their team to catch you and kill you. Mundo himself obviously just spams cleavers, but with Thresh, with Lantern, with Flay, with Q, it's just not easy to get away. Now, does seem like the inhib is back up, but Riosta's taking a lot of damage, and with now no ultimate, it's going to be very, very difficult to defend against this push. They're going to go for it.
They are. Solar Flow is beautiful, lands on 3 players. If they can burst Cars A down quickly, they've got a chance, but the Mega Inferno Bomb comes in, and the Rocket as well afterwards. There's so much burst damage in the blink of an eye, with players falling left, right, and centre. Now going to be a 3-on-3 trade. Mundo is so tanky. They do pick up that kill. Now Stomash is all that remains. He's going to go down to the hands of the Doctor. And there is the ace. It's going to be the inhibitor as well, because there's only 2 players alive, one of which is not the AD carry. They're not going to be able to finish the game off here, but again, the 5 for 3 trade and the inhibitor, definitely happy times for Team TURQUALITY.
Yeah, they are well okay with that, but at the same time, that fight could have been a lot worse for AWH. Riosta played it very, very well, jumping in like that. It caught them off guard. Called Kaze out, who took a lot of damage and got bursted out, and she absorbed a lot of stuff with her Zhonya's as a result. But because she didn't have that extra ultimate charge, and because the rest of her team wasn't quite in the perfect position, it still went against them. But it kind of showed how things could potentially work out in their favor. I still feel, though, that AWH need to be trying to avoid 5-on-5 team fights if they possibly can.
Yep, and now it's really going to come to that experience, bud, because there's no doubting they're behind. They're going to know that they're behind. The exact amount is just over 7,000 gold, which is significant. It's not game-breaking at around 30 minutes through the game, but it's definitely going to start showing in the items that come out. And I'm curious now, how do Always With Honor react to this? Because it is the markings and the sign of a truly great team, that when you are backs against the wall, you manage to claw your way back into the game. And there's no doubting they're second favourites right now.
Yeah, and if you look right now at the vision, look at how many pink wards Team TURQUALITY has. They have so much vision control over that area. They can afford pretty much any kind of play. The only thing that's surprising me right now is you can see where Zerg's thing is. He can't see that ward. He can't clear that out. That could actually really screw them, because that means most likely AWH has also noticed this. If they put down wards in that brush consistently, they might be able to catch Team TURQUALITY trying to sneak a Baron if that ever occurs. But even if it doesn't, they're still going to have to contend with the split push from Mundo. And Trundle doesn't seem to be confident in fighting Mundo 1v1, which I'm somewhat surprised at.
It may lull Team TURQUALITY into a false sense of security, that they're like, we got a pink wall in here, there can't be any vision, and so therefore they react accordingly. But Mundo is bot lane, and he's going to be split pushing, and he is a character that no one can really duel with right now. He's just way too tanky. In fact, they've clumped them up here, they've isolated. Look where Lucian is. He's not going to play any part for the first 4 or 5 seconds of this fight. In the meanwhile, the rest of his team is going to start to get shut down here. Finally, he has joined. He's probably going to take down this kill into Lucian, but the rest of his team is falling to pieces. And here comes Mundo chasing everybody down. Marshall's actually picked up a kill. They're 3-2 ahead. Zeitnot is going to try his best to pick up this kill. Mundo around from the backside is still full hit points. Double kill for Elise. And I was talking about Lucian not playing a part in that fight. Maybe that actually worked out for the benefit of AWH, because as you said, he's died so often for the first few seconds that keeping him alive to come in when everyone was weak may have actually proved to be the determining factor.
And right now, AWH have not considered all of the factors in the situation. They need to send Marshall back. Stomage and Zeitnot can take this Baron without him, and Mundo could be going for the bottom tower, but it actually looks like he's not going to. Okay, so I'm quite confused, because it seems like Long B feels like he can stop them taking the Baron, which he can't, and it also feels like AWH should have had to react to him split pushing and trying to take the bottom tower, but as it happens, neither of them are doing what I expect, and I'm not sure whether that's my bad or theirs, so in the end, it doesn't really matter. Baron buff on AWH, they're going to be kind of looking now to try and take advantage of that.
Must admit, I thought Mundo would split push bot lane as well, to try and at least even up the objectives. Like, okay, you guys are going to get Baron, I can't do anything to stop that, but I'm going to take your tower here, so that your bottom inhibitor is then vulnerable, but seemed like he was caught in 2 mind sputtings and just kind of did nothing.
Yeah, like, he could have gone for the Baron much earlier if he'd wanted to. Like, he could have even recalled, bought Home Guard, and then teleported in on the pink ward. They never cleared it. But he just didn't do that. Instead, he clearly agreed initially with us and said, okay, I'm going to split push bot, and then was like, I don't know where they've gone. I don't know. I'm puzzled. I'm always puzzled. There are many puzzles in this world. It is not for me to question, or it is, but it is not for me to continue to question when I have no new information and to shed any light on the subject. Regardless, though, it seems like Team TURQUALITY are going to be continuing to defend now. And Metas, is there anything like are you expecting AWH to be able to make anything happen now?
Well, I think they definitely got to try, because they do have this slight advantage now with the extra stats that are given to them by Baron buff, obviously the health regen as well. So they have to at least make a go of this, because they realised that about 5 minutes ago they were looking dead and buried. So best to try and make use of some advantages, and it kind of goes into the comment that you made before about Saint Vicious, where if there's a kill, then take it. Well, if there's objectives, take it when you have Baron, You're given that opportunity, you've got to jump at it with both hands.
Yeah, it's essentially very remiss of any player to let something just go for free. It's always, in the end, it comes down to judgment calls. Do you think you can risk taking something versus do you think the enemy will be able to contest it? But Window has recalled. He's actually running in with Home Guard, and there's a lot of damage on AWH.
Yeah, that death sentence going to land on Scats though, which isn't the ideal target, but Long B is in the front lines absorbing a lot of the damage. Halpern comes around the corner, beautiful Cataclysm locking in 4 players. He's going to fall, but that keeps him away and allows Ziggs to pick up that kill. Colin comes out now though, and Ari will be claiming that kill onto Ziggs, so again, it's going tit for tat, but now it's a 1 versus 3 situation, and it's just Zayt not remaining. And again, I've got to say that Jarvan Cataclysm was sublime, locking down the players, allowing Ziggs to pick up the kill. Zeitnot's going to try his best to duke his way out of this one. May very well be going back to the Dragon Pit and trying to relentless pursuit. He burns it just to dodge the zap. The flash is not available. He goes down for the ace.
Yeah, and it was a really good engage from from Team TURQUALITY initially anyway. Even the Jarvan Cataclysm notwithstanding, because they were able to force AWH, having already taken damage, to... Zergsting's cancelling his auto attacks. He's just messing with us. He was hitting me in heaven and not doing any damage, and I was thinking, what's going on here? So yeah, the Ziggs bomb initially cleared out all the minions, which meant the tower instantly aggroed on AWH. AWH were on the retreat. That did give them some small advantage, however, because it meant that, you know, if you were in Team TURQUALITY's shoes, you had to be running into their CC, into their pillars, into their poke. But obviously, in the end, because of that Jarvan Cataclysm, Team TURQUALITY come out on top.
And that was with Baron buff as well. So we were talking before about how they had the advantage and they need to try and make use of it. They tried, and it just didn't really pay off for them. So again, Team TURQUALITY are starting to look very, very strong. I wouldn't necessarily say this game is over just yet, but it's definitely the final curtain is starting to come down. I'd have to say that this next team fight is pretty much going to make or break it for AWH.
They might be able to get a fight in their advantage again, but if they lose another fight, as you say, there's a high chance of the game ending. Jinx destroys towers at this game, this stage of the game. She's now also got a Quicksilver Sash, which is going to be important in the actual team fight. As long as either Ziggs or Jinx survive the fight and they've got like a 2 or 3 man advantage at the end of it, I believe Team TURQUALITY could finish. But flip side of that is that it wouldn't take that much for AWH. If they were to get like a clean ace at this stage right now, like you know, Team TURQUALITY will just drop over dead from like, I don't know, STDs or something, but like then they could just push down and win pretty much instantly off of that one thing, off that one team fight actually happening.
I really do like the Quicksilver Sash pickup as well from Jinx, because you look at the amount of CC that's on the other side, and that's pretty much going to free Cars up to go wild in these team fights. And you can already see that the mentality between AWH is they know that they're behind right now. GA on Long B as well is just terrifying to behold from always with honest perspective, and they are just going to force their way through this bottom lane. With middle inhibitor being down as well, Splunington is the case that if they wait long enough, the super minions will push down mid, and then they can look to try and make the plays happen. Have you muted yourself?
I'm a dunce. So the Mikhail's Crucible has actually been used. Scats used that to stop Zergsting from going in. Now it's just a poke fight, and between the two of them, I'm just not sure who's going to come out ahead.
And that's the power of the Quicksilver Sash. Solar Fire lands on, but isn't the Jinx out that one? Here comes the Rocket and the Bomb. Rocket again will be missing though. However, the follow-up damage should be enough. There's Mundo getting the last hit onto Ari, so Ryosta will be falling. Instantly 3 players are popped. Only Lucian and Leona are remaining, so Duo Lane is going to have to do it all here. Death time is 50 seconds and just under right now, so this could be the end of the game unless Lucian and Leona make some big plays. At the very least though, it's going to be an inhibitor falling.
Yeah, Leona needs to heal up very quickly, and then it's just going to have to go... Oh, man.
Oh, the death sentences, though, are just so strong, and even though you're going to have at least spawning in 20 seconds, I don't think that's enough time. There goes a second Nexus Tower, you're saying Jinx just cuts through these with ease, and it's going to be Team TURQUALITY taking 3rd place in the Turkish Champions League Winter Finals, taking home that 5,000 Turkish lira.